So if you feel feelings of sadness or grief, even intense pain, it's understandable. It just proves that we're human. And today you may feel fine, but next month, next year, you might feel different. But Jehovah understands if we feel hurt. And that's the very reason why it's good for the congregation, surviving family members, to kind of be here together and focus on being positive, encouraging, and supportive. Occasions like this make us painfully aware that death is an enemy. And it's called an enemy because it snatches from us the most precious thing we have, and that's life itself. On May 28, 2019, this enemy claimed the life of Brother Lawrence Weems. The Bible does promise that death will be defeated. But until that time, those who knew Lawrence and loved Lawrence, grew up with Lawrence, have to deal with the fact that he's not here now, and there's no opportunity to talk with him or have any new memories. So it's good for us to be together. Brother Weems was born on November 1st, 1956, right here in Washington, D.C. He's survived by his mother, Dolores Weems, his brother, Eric Ingram, his sisters, Deborah Griffin and Donna Dews, his children, Lawrence Weems Jr. and Kenyon and Shannon Weems. He has 2 grandchildren, Sarah and Malcolm, and a host of beautiful nieces and nephews. Lawrence made his most important decision and was baptized on July 3rd, 1972. And over this span of years, he was active in telling others about the kingdom, whether it be in people's homes or door to door and at work. Well, the day of death is very difficult. Yet the Bible describes the day of death in a unique way. If you brought a Bible today, look at this verse, Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Notice how the day of death is described here in a unique way. Ecclesiastes 7:1, it says, "A good name is better than good oil, and the day of death is better than the day of birth." The day of death is better. Well, that's because the person develops a reputation. At birth, you don't have one. At death, you do. But even more important, when it says the day of death, do you realize what Jehovah does at that point? Apparently, at the day of death, Jehovah stops and makes a heart inspection of the person. He extracts the good qualities that the person had and commits it to memory. Isn't that beautiful? Jehovah is loyal. He's merciful. Lawrence demonstrated some fine qualities that had stemmed from a good heart, a soft heart over the years, fine works toward his family and neighbors. If I could, let me tell you something about my father. He was a generous man. He tried to avoid stinginess. The Bible says in Proverbs 3:27, which he loved, "Do not withhold good from those to whom you should give it, if it is within your power to help." So oftentimes Lawrence would examine his power. What can I do? And if it was within his power to help, especially his children and family, he would act on that. As an example, I remember my family was studying with another family. It was a mother and father, and they had 2 kids. And the family was about to get evicted. And I was about 8 or 9. So my mom let my dad know this family's about to get evicted. And as a kid, I was thinking, they can't stay with us. Those kids are bad. I was only about 9. But I remember the conversation that ensued, and my dad saying, it's okay. We can do it. How are they going to stay with us? We, a 3-bedroom apartment, and they're 4. We can do it. It was within our power. And they stayed with us. I thought it was going to be for a month, but it went on for many months. But that family benefited from the goodness. They learned more about Jehovah, and they drew closer to Jehovah. One example of if it was in his power to do good, it was especially demonstrated toward his children and moved him to be generous with them. Another thing that was something to think about was he was a hard-working man. Now, he learned that from his mother. He learned that from his family. He learned that from his upbringing. He became a hard-working man. He was at the same company for many years in a responsible position. Ecclesiastes 3:13 says, everyone should eat and drink and find enjoyment for all his hard work. It is a gift of God. So hard work, did you notice it said enjoyment? So he would work very hard so that his family would be able to enjoy the things they needed. That was one of his determinations. He also had a good sense of humor, but you had to draw it out. It didn't just come out, but he had a good sense of humor. He loved to tell stories about basketball or some personal experience, somebody he met in the ministry, some unique encounter, and he would hold those stories for particular moments, if drawn out, even before a crowd. And sometimes after he related that humorous story, he would say, and if you laughed, he would say, I knew you would get a kick out of that. What did that tell us? Well, that he was displaying the humor to bring happiness to the other person. So that was something he was concerned about. Finally, he had a love for the Bible. Oftentimes when people spoke to him, he would recall Bible accounts, even strange ones, ones that were obscure. I remember as a child, we would do family study, and we would go through 40 scriptures that he already knew by heart, and he would do that with us. Genesis 1:1, what does that say? We would say it. We go through the whole Genesis to Revelation, some 40 to 50 scriptures with ease. He already had that. Even at times before discipline, maybe if we lied, what scripture applies to that? Well, Proverbs 14:5 says, a faithful witness of God wouldn't lie. Now you understand why I'm going to spank you. And then the spanking would ensue. It didn't always happen like that, scriptures before spanking, but it tells us about his mindset, right? Well, there could be many more things said, self-sacrificing and other positive qualities. Maybe you have your own special memory of Lawrence. But what we want to tell you is rest assured that Jehovah has recorded those memories. And from this day forward, you can share them with him, those memories. When you lose a loved one in death, how does Jehovah feel? Is he aloof? If you have your Bible, look at this verse. It's Psalm 147:3. Psalm 147:3. Notice what it says. It says, he heals the brokenhearted. He binds up their wounds. So when we experience the loss of Lawrence, or even a loved one in death, did you notice, is Jehovah aloof? It said a person can be brokenhearted. Literally, you know what that means? It means wounded. So Jehovah understands that whether it be today or tomorrow or later, you know what? We might feel wounded emotionally from the loss of Lawrence. Yet Jehovah understands that our reaction is normal for what we're dealing with. He won't overreact to the fact that we're crushed. But he doesn't just leave it there. Did you see in that verse? It said, he binds up their wounds. To bind means to bandage. So from this day forward, Jehovah he'll bandage our emotions as we have those ups and downs to deal with it. A bandage actually has two purposes. It's designed to relieve pain, that's one. The other purpose of a bandage is to promote healing. So going forward, Jehovah's going to do that for us. He's going to help us relieve some of the pain. How? By meditating on mercy, loving kindness. And then he's going to start the healing process by meditating on the hope. And the more we do that, we can gain greater. We can feel better about the healing. Well, Lawrence was convinced of certain hopes. He didn't believe that the earth would stay the way it is now. He had absolute confidence, even to the day that a few days before he died, he was actually talking about the paradise. And he believed the earth would change under God's kingdom. He also believed that when a person dies, they're not in pain. Ecclesiastes 9:5 says that the dead are conscious of nothing at all. So he's not in pain. He's not suffering. He also believed that there was a certain hour that was coming. John chapter 5, and I'm going to quote it, verse 28. There, some were listening to Jesus talk about the resurrection, and apparently some were shocked. Is this possible? Is the resurrection possible? And then Jesus said this, John 5:28. Do not be amazed at this, for the hour is coming in which all those in the memorial tombs will hear his voice and come out. Those who did good things to a resurrection of life. Don't be amazed. And in that verse, he said, the hour is coming. Did you notice Jesus didn't say the year, the month, the week? But by using the phrase hour, he was saying, it's going to be a short period of time. You won't have to wait so long to see this amazing occurrence of a resurrection. So that can help us that we have hope of seeing Lawrence again. Well, it was good for us to be together. It allows us to comfort one another, especially family, friends, and support each other. But there's one more reason why it's good. If we go to this final verse, to be together, Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 2. Ecclesiastes 7:2, it says, better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting, for that is the end of every man, and the living should take it to heart. So it's good to go to the house of mourning. Why? It just highlights how short life can be. The swift don't always have to race. Things are also uncertain. So how are we living our life today? The living should take it to heart. When it says take it to heart, it implies the fact that sometimes we have to stop. We're so busy, but stop and put our hand on the doorknob of our heart and open it and ask ourselves seriously, who am I in relationship to Jehovah? What qualities am I developing now that Jehovah appreciates? Asking ourselves honestly. And when we take it to heart that life is so short, it moves us from saying things like this: I'm going to get it together one day. I know what Jehovah wants. I'm going to get it together one day. And it moves us to say, today's the first day to get it together. Go to the house of mourning. It's good for us to think about who we are on the inside from Jehovah's vantage point. In the days ahead, let's keep comforting one another. Like we said today, we might feel good, but let's make a special effort to look out for each other. Death is an enemy, but soon it will be defeated. And we are confident that Lauren's future is in the most secure place in all the universe, in the infinite memory of Jehovah God. Now, let's sing a song, song number 139, and then after which Brother Griffin will say a closing prayer for us. So song number 139, we ask you to stand for that. Thank you.